Hey there, folks. How's it going? I hope you're all doing great today. I can't really complain. Distracted, working too much as always, but that's par for the course for me. Today's video, I want to show you a strategy that I used to beat a Doom Tower boss a couple of years ago when my account was far less cool than it is now. So I do think it is a viable strategy. And this is, of course, for, scrolling up, Bommal, the Dread King, floor 90. This is the highest floor that you will need to fight this man at on this rotation. So yeah, basically the hardest version of Bommal in the entire game. Although, you know, maybe Curse City stuff, I don't know. But anyway, we're talking about Doom Tower. So, and don't get me wrong, I mean, there are a lot of strategies you can use for this boss now. There are actually quite a few freezing champs right now, and some very good ones like Newt. There are the kind of solo cheese strategies like Lady Annabelle, but that does take an eternity, stuff like that. So, let me show you the one that I did a few years back, which is basically... When I love how I exited out and came back. That's when you know you're tired. But basically a couple, when I started playing, I was lucky enough to pull a Geomancer in the first Ancients 2X that I ever did, with my measly amount of Ancient shards. And this champion just carried me through every boss fight in the game for, probably like a year. I mean, he's still quite used on my account in a lot of these fights. You probably have seen him often in videos. It's just, it's just an incredibly useful champ in most areas of the game. So yeah, naturally the first thing I did with every boss is I just threw him against it. And I'm not gonna lie, nowadays this is perhaps not the team that I would always use because I do have like some crazy champs at this point, but absolutely this team works, and that's all you can ask for in my experience. So you may notice the theme looking at the team. We have Geomancer, and then everybody else is just a support healer. So that is literally the entire strategy. We're just keeping people alive, and we're just gonna essentially reflect all the damage back to Bommal with Geomancer's passive, and we are going to make him end his own life, shall we say. So that is my strategy. Let me show you a video of my incredible run. I recorded it because, 5 minutes, it's not super quick here, so we'll maybe do some strategic fast forwarding. As you can imagine, I have Geomancer, I have Vogoth, Rector, Drath, Aox the Rememberer, and Pythion. This is not the ideal wave clearing team, so I mean, honestly, most of this fight is probably the waves, so... yeah, you can see what's kind of going on here. We have no damage, we have no AoE. It's fantastic. So I will fast forward a little bit so maybe we can get to something more interesting. Okay, so wave 2, you've got all these people with the same model and animation. But basically the only thing to note about wave 2 is that, like if you're going to manual a lot of the Doom Tower boss fights, or just boss fights period, just make sure you kind of manual for a moment at the end of the wave. You can see I've turned off auto, and I'm just going manual for now. So just make sure you've turned off auto and you're letting all of your good abilities come back up, because obviously, like I said, this fight is based around Geomancer, so you don't want to walk into that fight and then the Quicksand Grasp is on cooldown, because that would ruin everything. You would literally have to restart it. You would have to do 2.5 to 3 minutes of waves over and over again, so please don't do that. Prepare, show up ready, so have all of your abilities. And then everybody on this team is absolutely integral to it, so I would say, preserve every ability. Although, except for Vogoth, yeah, his provoke doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, but yeah, everybody else, make sure you've got the key abilities up. And it looks like we're going to finish off these Fushans. We are now at the boss. Okay, so 247 on the waves. Like I said, that's the majority of this is the waves. So we're finally here. What does this guy do? if you played this fight when you were newer and you weren't equipped, you probably just instantly, within the first couple of turns, got absolutely demolished, maybe by turn 3 or 4. So let's check out what he does. First thing that you might notice, I'm just opening with an A1. I'm not doing anything else. The reason I'm doing this is because this ability, what it does is it removes all of your buffs and it replaces them with bombs. So he has 2 types of bombs, right? He has the bombs that he'll spawn around him, and then he will also place the bombs on you, kind of like Rat King or Gaius or whoever the heck would. So yeah, he'll remove your buffs and he will replace them with bombs. So if you happen to have people who are going before him, and this is a bit of a slower team for me. I'm, obviously like somebody like Vogoth, you probably don't have this champion built particularly speedy. My Pythion's in Stone Skin, so obviously when I'm using him in arena and whatnot, I want to go second. So if you have a bunch of people going first, just make sure you're not applying a bunch of buffs, because they will get removed and they will get replaced with bombs instead. And the bombs will explode after 2 turns and you will die. So don't do that. Would not recommend. I am going to get my Stone Skin removed, but that's fine. We can tank a couple of these. So yeah, that's just me showing you the ability. Removes all buffs, places a bomb debuff, places an additional. So you're going to get 1 on you no matter what, right? But he's going to place an additional buff for each bomb. Or I reverse that. He's going to place an additional bomb for each buff removed. So if we had like 8 buffs, we'd have like 8 bombs. So be careful. You really don't want to go in there and throw up the Rector Drath Veil continuous heal, because you're just instantly, the Pythion block debuffs, you're just instantly gonna ruin the whole thing for yourself. So don't do that. And then, like we were talking about, Quicksand Grasp, Geomancer is the entire point of the team. So just go ahead and apply that first. And then something else to note here, when you place a debuff on him, he will drop another bomb. He does it on turn meter reduction, I think. So you will notice him dropping more bombs occasionally because that's his reaction to you doing certain things to him. I don't remember exactly how it works. I believe it's like turn meter reduction and placing debuffs. So I'm going to see some more bombs coming out, and now it's fine to go in with the Pythion little heal and also the block debuffs. Absolutely, it is nice to have somebody with block debuffs because he can place things like stun. He can also place HP burn, and when you're HP burned, everything does more damage to you. So would highly recommend not getting HP burned and doing a lot of damage to yourself. So keep that in mind. Definitely might want to have either cleanser or just straight up block debuffs. Obviously Python, perfect champion for this. And then other thing to notice. So I did do my little tiny heal on Pythion because that's more of a cleanse, right? It's not a particularly strong heal. So I did do my block debuffs, but everybody's like full health. So you're going to notice that I'm not going to blow all my heals right here, or else this entire thing wouldn't work. So you do need to stagger your heals and make sure you're using them when it's actually necessary. So let's just go ahead and see what I do. Aox the Rememberer, I'm deciding, I guess. So I did go ahead and use the ability, which is a little turn meter decrease, and then it's also decrease attack, and you'll notice he has increased attack. So it is pretty useful to place decreased attack. And then this is decreased crit rate or something, decreased crit damage. Crit maybe. So that's not super useful, but hey, we place it, and then like we were talking about, he is going to place some more bombs. I want to say it's in response to the turn meter action. I'll double check this and let you know when I actually post this. I'll like edit some text right here to tell you what's up. And then Vogoth, I'm just going to A1. His passive, he might extend the duration of a debuff. So hey, like if we could get an extra, an extend on the HP burn or decreased attack or something, that's fantastic. So obviously the the provoke is doing nothing for us, so may as well go ahead with the A1. And then Rector Drath. Like I said, I'm not using the heal right now. Nobody's weak. There's no reason to use the heal, so I'm not going to do that. And we'll just continue. You can see we've reached turn 2 here, so the bombs are starting to explode on some of our friends, and those are doing pretty significant damage. You know, he's taking damage from the Geo passive already. Pythion A1 is a heal. And then I am, you know, people are getting weak. This is getting a little setchy. I am going to go ahead and use Aox's A2, which will provide actually really good heal depending on, it's stronger based on the amount of debuffs on the enemy. So I guess that's another reason it was nice that I did go ahead and place those debuffs. We're getting a little bit of stronger heal here. And you can see, you know, we're very healthy again. And the other thing you've got to do, you can see I'm keeping an eye on it here. I want to know when he's going to remove my buffs again, because, you know, I want to be smart about this. I don't want to put all of my buffs on right as they're going to get turned into bombs, because that would be devastating. So I'm kind of checking up on this, seeing what I want to do. And then I did decide to use it just because if I wait any longer, you know, it's going to be too late, right? They're all going to get removed. So I'm like, okay, we'll just use the heal while we can and push forward with the fight. Everybody's taking some damage as the bombs are detonating. Okay, so now, you know, this is our first instance of taking a lot of damage. That is the stun that I mentioned. I think I'm going to opt not to cleanse because, you know, here's the stability that I was keeping an eye on. I don't want them to get turned into bombs. So yeah, I do just go with the A1. See what happens. We've got bombs exploding. We do lose Vogoth because he's taking the majority of the damage for us, because remember his passive. So now I'm kind of checking, like, okay, what do I want to do? So I just go ahead with cleanse. I know I can have Rector bring Vogoth back. We'll reapply the HP burn. Just kind of, you know, we're back to where we were a while ago, right? Although, you know, a little less unhealthy. So we'll just keep healing. We can Rector heal again. See what's happening here. Lots and lots of damage happening. I do go ahead with that. We'll get Geo back because, you know, nothing's happening with his passive if he's not alive. Millions of bombs exploding, lots of damage happening. Get that HP burn on again. Get some heals out again. And then everybody does have 75 billion bombs on them by this point. But I don't really care at this point because, I mean, the second a couple of these explode, right? He's dead. So we're not in this for the longevity here. Like, this is perfectly fine. So explosion, that basically almost killed him just from one single bomb. And the others explode. And yay, we win. So as you can see, it does work if you haven't bothered to 60 one of the cheese champs, because, like, I know, like, me personally, I would kind of hate to spend the resources on, like, a champ that you know, a champ and a build that I exclusively use for this kind of thing, or maybe you don't have the aforementioned champ, or, you know, whatever the reason is. It's, you know, it's your game. You can beat the bosses however you choose. And then, like, with the healer thing, this, like, you don't, Vogoth is probably, like, borderline essential, but the other champions you choose, you know, you can choose whatever you want. Like, healer wise, there are so many strong supports in the game at this point. Like, I did do a run just because I was testing, because I've gotten some new supports since I started doing this. So, like, I did do it, you know, you can see I've got Godseeker, Aniri here. We're, you know, pretty darn healthy in this one. I suppose for the video, I swapped her out because, you know, she's a void. Someone like Aox is more accessible. So that would be my reasoning on why I did that. But yeah, we're, like, super healthy here in this one. So yeah, that was me trying it with, like, Godseeker and Aniri. You know, there's like so many strong supports in Raid nowadays. no reason you would need to use mine specifically. I've done this fight with Ugo, like back before I had some of the other supports that I have now. Like I have 2 Ugos that would totally work. You can do this fight with 2 Vogoths. That's like extremely strong. I just haven't gotten around to leveling a second Vogoth because there's a couple hundred champs that I got to level for the first time as opposed to the second time. People have told me that they have 2 Rector Draths leveled. Like, you could definitely do something like that. Demintha's extremely strong healer. Mine is built for clan boss, so she's very squishy. So probably not the best option for me. And then, of course, you got to be careful with all her buffs because they will get removed. But yeah, definitely, I mean, there's a million strong LEGO supports. Like I said, I just strayed away from them because I'm trying to make a team that is somewhat accessible to other human beings in the world. So I'm not going to go through and pick like all of my most inaccessible champions ever. That would not be super helpful. But let me show you the builds. While I'm here in the LEGO section, Pythion was the only LEGO I was using. Yeah, so it's not the most amazing build ever. I have him in Stone Skin currently. I've had him in Relentless in the past. It's not something I think about a lot of the time. I'm sure it could be better. I don't really care, you know. He's doing his thing, so we'll let him be. But yeah, obviously things like speed, HP, defense are all normal supporty things. That is my Godseeker Aniri build because we did use her in the other video. This is completely a Sand Devils build. I have a video on, her in like the Ninja or Newt Sand Devil team, so that is my build. That's what it's for. Probably a bit on the slower end for like high-end content in general, like if you're talking about things that aren't Sand Devil, but fortunately in that boss you can be very slow. You could probably use something like that. There's the Ugos. Of course, we had Geo, who I've already passed. Oh, I've already passed Rector off also. Okay, so that's my Geo. And the one thing I do, usually I use him in Iron Twins, so need a bit more accuracy. So I do have like an HP chest and an accuracy chest. And every time this rotation comes around, I always have to put the HP chest on him. So that's my one little kind of Geo adjustment that I have to do every time this comes up. Rector up here, my good friend, she's, mainly Relentless. We have a couple Stone Skin pieces, get a little boost from that. Yeah, that's her. And also, it goes without saying, I did this a couple years ago. All of my champions were much worse built at the time, so I think you could do it. You could do it with less. Mr. Vogoth. I definitely didn't have a 6-star awakening for Vogoth years ago when I did it for the first time, but just kind of standard HP build. You're focusing the HP. I do have some speed because I don't want him to be completely useless in like wave content, but you can definitely have a Vogoth with like 100 speed for this. There's really no reason you would ever need to take a turn. So you do you. And oh boy, Aox the Rememberer. Okay, so Aox the Rememberer, I'm just kind of in love with this champ. I've been a huge fan since I first pulled him. He just has a lot of uses all across the game, and I'm just a fan. And you may also notice the kind of garbage build. Let's just be completely honest about it. And that just speaks to the champ. Like, I've been using this for years, and never have I thought like, wow, Aox just, he's not really working anymore. So the second I feel like I need a better build, I will go for it. But for now, the 5-star accuracy and perception and speed, like I'm completely fine with this. And yeah, I don't even think he died during that fight. So Aox the Rememberer. And I do believe that would be it. Yeah, Pythion, Vogoth, Rector, Geo, and then either Aniri or Aox, depending on which little clip it was. All right, you guys. So that is my cheese. I don't know. Is it cheese? Probably. That is one of my many teams involving Lord Geomancer, you know, our savior who gets us through every boss fight when we're new, if we were so lucky to pull him. And yeah, like I said, I know there's a million other strategies. I just wanted to focus on this one in particular, because as always, if it helps even one person, then I'm super happy with that and am glad that I posted. All right, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm way too tired this week. As always, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to check out the video and for all your kind words and everything. It means a lot. And you guys take care of yourselves. Goodbye.